Hey, what's up everyone? So today I'm going to show you how to make a house special lo mein. It's a lo mein that is basically reusing char siu. That's because a lot of Chinese restaurants, they have char siu, right? And if a restaurant cannot finish those char siu, they'll save it for next day and use it for house special lo mein. So in this video, I'm not only going to teach you how to make a house special lo mein, but I'm also going to give you a few tips on how to make really good lo mein noodles at home, as well as tell you what ingredient that you should not use for Chinese lo meins. So let's get going. Okay, so the first ingredient that I have to explain is, of course, the lo mein noodles. Now, this will be enough to serve 2 people. That is, if you're gonna be eating like other side dishes like General Tso's chicken or orange chicken. But if you want to make this like a standalone meal for 2 people, then you're gonna want to double the recipe. But I do not recommend cooking 1 kilo or 2 pounds of lo mein noodles in a wok at one time. I'll explain to you why later. So right here, I have 500 grams of pre-cooked lo mein noodles. So when I bought these from my fresh market, these were already cooked. But these are good quality and they're readily available for me and pretty cheap. So that's why I use pre-cooked ones. Now, if you cannot find Chinese lo mein noodles in your Asian supermarket, it might be packaged as Japanese yakisoba noodles. That you can use. What I do not recommend is dried Italian spaghetti pasta. I mean, when I watch cooking shows and I come across lo mein videos, I see people substitute dried spaghetti pasta for lo mein. Honestly, this and this are totally different. Lo mein noodles contain eggs. Dried spaghetti pasta don't contain eggs. Now, if you can get your hands on Italian fresh spaghetti pasta, which does have eggs in it, those would probably be closer to lo mein noodles. But again, the egg to flour ratio or the type of flour is totally different. So that is why if you want a proper tasting Chinese lo mein dish, you should really get either lo mein noodles or Japanese yakisoba noodles. And I'm pretty sure that if you ask a Italian cook or a chef if you can use lo mein noodles to substitute for dried spaghetti, they'll probably say no. All right, and for the char siu, if you want to make a really good house special lo mein, you need a char siu that is half fat and half lean, okay? So in Cantonese, we call that bun fei, bun sao, and my nickname is chun bo fei, which is completely all fat. So anyways, you want a lot of fat in your char siu because when that fat cooks in the hot wok and renders down, it's gonna get mixed into your all the other ingredients, especially the lo mein noodles, which is, you know, of course, good things, right? We have some shrimp. This is about 12 pieces of shrimp. These have already been cleaned and deveined. And if you want to make extra special tasty shrimp, make sure you add just a little bit of baking soda to it. So after you clean and devein your shrimp, right, wash the shrimp off, add just enough clean water to cover the shrimp, and then add a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. The baking soda is gonna help plump up the shrimp and give it a nice little texture bite. So after you add the baking soda, just give it a good mix and put it in the refrigerator for about 10 to 15 minutes. And when you take the shrimp out, you're gonna see that it is noticeably more plump and supple. So it kind of makes me want to add baking soda to my face. Maybe you can do the same, you know. This is about 2 cups of bean sprouts. All right, and we're gonna go quickly through the other ingredients. So let's start off with my leftover char siu. We're just gonna cut these into thin little strips. Yeah, so every time when I order a char siu at a restaurant, I always order extra. This way I can plan out my meals and make a really tasty house special lo mein the day after. Now, if for some reason you cannot find Chinese char siu, you can use like pork sirloin, just slice it up thin and just stir fry it before adding it into your lo mein noodles. But eventually I will make a pork lo mein recipe soon, but I just find that char siu is such a great combination with lo mein noodles because it's got that salty, sweet, and that nice Chinese barbecue-y flavor that just goes so well with the flavor of lo mein noodles. Okay, next up, 1 small onion. Just slice them up any way you want. I just like mine a little bit larger because onions, they shrink when they cook, right? So, and then for the carrots, I think a lot of you know how I feel about carrots. Not really a fan of it, but it's sort of an essential ingredient to lo meins, I guess, right? So that's why I gotta have some carrots. And we just need to cut these into just little thin matchsticks. And because I hate carrots so much, I tend to cut them a little bit more thinner, kind of like, you know, if I don't see it, I don't mind eating it. And I'm just gonna add these to the onions because the carrots go in at the same time as the onions. And then right here, I have some mushrooms. Now, normally I don't use mushrooms in my lo mein dishes, but that is the essential meaning of a house special lo mein. It's whatever you have in your house that is pretty much about to expire. You know, you can just throw it into your dishes so you don't waste any food, right? So mushrooms are totally optional. Another item that you can throw in is ham. So if you have ham that is about to expire or go bad, yeah, just throw in some ham into this. Ham is a very common item in house special lo meins, at least the ones that I eat. Last thing to chop up, the spring onions. We take off top of the root and then just cut the spring onions at a diagonal so they just look a little bit pretty. That's done. This goes in at the end. And now we work on the all-important sauce. 2 tablespoons of oyster sauce. 1 teaspoon light soy sauce. 2 teaspoons of dark soy sauce. So dark soy sauce is actually the ingredient that darkens your lo mein noodles. If you're more familiar with lo mein noodles that is darker in color, then you want to add maybe a full tablespoon of dark soy sauce instead of 2 teaspoons. And this is 1 tablespoon of white vinegar, 1 teaspoon of sugar. The white vinegar and the sugar is just gonna help balance out the flavors. Just a dash of ground white pepper, about a 1/4 teaspoon. And then just mix it up. Now I'm also going to add pure sesame oil, but I'm gonna add it in the end after I'm done cooking. We're just gonna start off quickly by stir frying our shrimp. But before we do that, I'm gonna add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Let's mix it up real quick. So I heat my wok to a medium-high heat, and when it starts to smoke like that, I'm gonna add a tablespoon of oil. Toss in the shrimp. We're not looking to cook the shrimp through. If we do that, it's gonna overcook. So we're just gonna put some color on it and remove it. All right, that's it. This cooking phase shouldn't take more than a minute. Just remove the shrimp and try and keep in as much oil as you can. See? Just some nice color on the shrimp. Okay, so I mentioned why you should not put too much lo mein noodles into a pan or a wok. Because if there's too many ingredients into the hot wok, think about it, the lo mein noodles, the char siu, the shrimp, all the vegetables, you're gonna overload the pan and the food's gonna steam instead. Most Chinese restaurants have these huge woks and these huge blazing fires, and that is the reason why they can cook more ingredients at one time. But for you folks at home, since your pans are smaller and you don't have this crazy amount of flames coming out from your stove, you should always cook smaller portions, and that way your food's gonna taste better. So that's the main reason why Chinese foods in Chinese restaurants always taste different than home-cooked versions, because they've got higher flame. So for you to replicate that same Chinese restaurant taste, you should cook smaller portions and use high heat. So if you want to double this recipe, I highly recommend that you cook this recipe 2 times separately. Okay, so I'm gonna pop my wok back on high heat. I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of oil. It's a lo mein dish. You gotta have a lot of oil. So you want to cook the carrots and the onions for just a few minutes, just until the onions start to turn clear. And then we chuck in the lo mein noodles. And then throw in the sauce. Quickly throw in all the other ingredients. The sprouts, mushrooms. Give this a mix first. Keep in mind, I am still cooking in high heat. That's why I am working fast. Throw in the char siu. Give that a good mix too. And we let the char siu's fat drip into the lo mein noodles. Drop in the shrimp. Cook that for another 30 to 45 seconds. Then drop in the spring onions and flip the heat off. And then just give it one final quick stir. The residual heat from the wok is gonna cook down the rawness of that spring onion. And then before serving, drizzle in about 2 teaspoons of pure sesame oil. So here it is, folks. Another quick and easy lo mein dishes from yours truly. But as always, I do make deliveries. I take Bitcoins and Camels as payment. I'll see you all in the next one.